been debating with myself whether or not I should make a video about the Paul brothers for quite a while. Everyone has done videos on these two at this point, and I wondered whether or not there actually would be something for me to add to the situation. However, after watching countless of the Paul vlogs and the rebuttals against them on YouTube and other social media platforms, I've not come across anyone who is Jake's age who's spoken out about this. Hi, my name is Michael Novak, and just like Jake Paul, I am also 20 years old. And despite all the shit that him and his brother have pulled, I still in a way sympathize with him. I mean, it's the Nash Greer incident all over again. Back in late December of 2013, Viner Nash Greer, Cameron Dallas, and JC Kalen made a 10-minute video titled What Guys Look For in Girls, and the internet boiled over. This was due to the young men having a large female underage audience listening to their pretentious and shallow rhetoric demands. Here's the thing. The reason why scandals keep happening to these young former Vine stars is because of the medium. Back when Vine was still around, young people were able to make 6-second clips of themselves doing weird and crazy stuff. This was what the platform was built around. The whole point of Vine was to showcase short, random, spur-of-the-moment clips with very little thought process going into it. Now let's talk about the medium of YouTube. YouTube was built on a platform of being able to express yourself freely, openly, and with full control over the content. This used to allow creators to talk about subjects they felt strongly about, while giving it their own personal twist to make the content more appealing. Now here's why the two platforms are so different. Attention spans. Once Vine shut down, this random new style of media collided with the world. A digital content creating world that was not only built on different values, but also takes inspiration from the TV and film business. This results in two very different audiences colliding. The one audience who's used to the fastly paced, loud noises, lowest common denominator humor, and the other audience who's been growing not only their attention spans, but ultimately growing their demands for quality content for more than a decade. And here's where the Paul brothers and other Viners come into the equation. Jake Paul and Logan Paul are geniuses. Now before you crucify me, then just hear me out. In late 2016, when Vine announced it was shutting down, a ton of young impressionable men and women found themselves becoming unemployed. A lot of them faded into obscurity, but the ones who stayed were the ones who managed to collide these two worlds and make a profit out of it. The Paul brothers and others just like them succeeded in doing just that. They were able to bring their new form of digital media content into the world of established content creators and comedians. Jake Paul and Logan Paul knew they needed to expand their content and make it longer, but they also knew that they had to keep up with the fastly paced, random, short-lived humor. And they managed to do that by creating a new form of video logs that beat all the others in the competition. They simply changed the game. In the matter of less than a year, these two brothers have been able to change an entire platform and the way the content on this platform is produced. How were they able to do that? By using their enormous fan base that they had each acquired on Vine to get them off the ground. The rest was simply a question of networking with other YouTubers, networks, and social media influencers to attract a new audience, to blend in with the old one. However, this required a lot of work and dedication. The Paul brothers are dealing with a fan base of young impressionable people who want to see the same type of shock value content that they were used to on Vine, and another audience who want to embark on the Casey Neistat experience, and they both came to the conclusion that these types of random, wild, fastly paced vlogs would be the best solution, and they were absolutely right. That is what makes these two buttheads geniuses. They simply changed the game. Now why do I feel sorry for Jake Paul? Because he's 20 years old. A 20-year-old homeowner, boss, business owner, and TV celebrity. All this attention, money, and the non-existing responsible parents has set this young man onto a path of self-destruction. All the money has allowed Jake to surround himself with the yes-sayers. This is where the employed members of Team 10 enter the picture. It's the Toby Turner situation all over again.
The problem with that is it's a hollow feeling. It's a fleeting feeling. It will go away, and in my opinion, over the years, to counteract that, Toby has surrounded himself with yes men, yes women, people willing to do pretty much anything that he wants, to validate everything he says and does.
Having all these other young social media influencers who surround Jake and praise every little thing he does is bound to fuck up his priorities just a bit. Just think about it. When you hear Jake Paul in the Channel 5 News report ask the reporter why he shouldn't climb onto the Channel 5 News vehicle, you have to take into account that this young man consciously surrounds himself with people who will hype him up to do these things constantly and encourage reckless behavior, or else they will be fired and evicted from the Team 10 house. Case in point, Elizabeth Island. Surrounding yourself with people like that will change the way you view yourself and your actions. It changes your inner moral compass. This is also why you'll hear Jake saying that the things he does aren't such a big deal. The only role model Jake has, the only person that straight up will tell him when he needs to bring it down a notch, is Logan Paul. Now the only problem with that is that Logan has the same job, the same ambitions, and most importantly the same audience, and therefore makes the same type of content. Jake views this as something he should attempt to recreate, but he hasn't gotten the maturity of his older brother, and that ruins his social interactions with law enforcement and other authority figures. This has placed Jake in a seriously scary situation, where real life catches up with him and he has to deal with the consequences. My conclusion is this: if Jake Paul had more responsible parents or simply didn't receive all this fame at such a young age, he would have been able to avoid this entire situation. It's hard enough being 20 years old as it is. You have to remember, at the age of 20 is when you're confronted with the real world for the first time. For most people, this is when you get your first real job or start a real education. This is the time for most young adolescents where they move out and have to start living life on their own. That can be very stressful in itself, but when you have 8 million young impressionable teen girls screaming your name and worshipping you as a god, you prevent yourself from being properly introduced to this world. That or all this thing is a major publicity stunt and the Paul brothers are laughing behind our backs, which is also a possibility. Now, do I think that Jake Paul is responsible for this situation himself as well? Absolutely. Never in my life have I pulled the victim card, and I don't apply it to others. I don't feel sorry for serial killers just because they've had a rough childhood, and I don't feel sorry for a pretentious prat like Jake Paul. However, I always feel it's interesting to look at the situations from both angles, and take all the little things into consideration before choosing sides. People are complex, and situations like these certainly are too. But that's just a theory. Oh wait, not my channel. Speaking of MatPat though, I do want to encourage you to check out his video titled The Minor Invasion of Jake Paul and Logan Paul. It brings up a very interesting theory. Lastly, I just want to say that I created this video because I've been following the Paul drama since the beginning, and I know the both of them from the Vine days. Also, having been a YouTube regular viewer for more than 8 years and a Viner for 2 of those years, I've noticed quite a few things about the 2 platforms and the algorithms on these platforms, and hopefully I was able to add something useful to the situation. But be a gent and let me know in the comment section below. Alright, I'll see you guys next time for another exciting video. I'm in the Logan, by the way. Be a maverick and join the Michael Novakers gang today, y'all. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out some of my other content if this video interested you in just the slightest. Alright, dope. I'm gonna go. I have to watch the Emoji Movie now. I feel like that's in its place. And I'll see you next time. Bye! Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then please click here. If you'd like to see a random video from my channel, then click here. Also, be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.